Hi there, I'm Kate Smith, Managing Partner for Capella, part of PMI, and today I'm talking to Alex Gumery, one of our experienced programme managers, about preparing for examinations that are included as part of our apprenticeship programmes. So all of the improvement apprenticeship standards include an examination as part of the endpoint assessment. And exams feel a little bit scary, but they're absolutely not. And we work hard to make sure that learners are well prepared. Can we start by talking a little bit about what the exams are that learners can expect at endpoint assessment?
Yes, of course, Kate. So for each of the apprenticeships that we deliver, as part of those assessments, there is an examination to complete. All of the examinations are open book and are a range of sort of working out questions and multiple choice. The exams themselves typically range to about 40 questions and have an option of 4 answers for them. And as I said, you have almost the luxury of open book, so you can refer to your notes if there's any questions that you think you might be struggling with.
Okay, and I think for the level 5 standard, which is the black belt level standard, there's the questions are grouped into case studies, aren't they? So there's a small number of case studies with questions aligned to each of those. And for the level 3 and 4, they're batched into stages of the improvement cycle, so they kind of naturally flow aligned to the content of the program. So I think you said they're multiple choice, open book, and on the TestReach platform. So can you tell us a bit more about the TestReach platform?
Yeah, so the TestReach platform is actually provided to us by our endpoint assessment organisation, Quantum. So typically the way that works is when you're ready and pass Gateway, you'll sort of we will notify Quantum you are ready for your assessment, in which case you'll be then sent an invitation to book your date in for endpoint assessment. And alongside of that, TestReach will, once you've agreed your date, TestReach will reach out, provide you a link for you to sort of sign up, test that you are compatible with using the software, and then once you've proved you're compatible on your nominated date, you will sit the exam. So what you sort of can expect when doing the exam is, as I say, it's all online. There will be an invigilator. You will be expected to have your camera on, and you will need your camera on yourself for the duration of the examinations. In preparation for that, what we typically offer across the apprenticeship as well is you will be doing a mid-review mock exam and a final review mock exam. So a couple of reasons for this. First of all, repetition of starting to build your knowledge and understanding of the content. But secondly, so that you can use the software and we make sure there's no issues that when you get to endpoint examination, the worst thing that we would want is that we receive a do not attend because you can't connect, or there's an issue with the your organisation's internet security, which believe it or not happens quite frequently. Hence the reason we do the mid reviews and the final reviews. So
plenty of time to get any technical issues sorted out, and 2 opportunities before the endpoint assessment to actually use the TestReach platform. And I guess what that also gives is learners an opportunity to get a feel for how the questions are structured, how they're worded, and kind of what to expect as well. Is there any other preparation that Capella provides as part of the programme to help ensure that learners can do their best at those exams?
Yeah, so throughout the apprenticeship, obviously, you'll be learning the knowledge, skills and behaviours that will be asked in the examinations. But also what we do provide, we've got some fantastic resources that we refer to as memory joggers. And effectively what these are a condensed version of the training slides that you actually delivered while on apprenticeship. It's it's taken out all of the exercises and almost introductory slides and just gives you the core content that you'd be expected to know at the exams. These are a fantastic resource. I probably refer to them more often than the training slides when I need to check when I'm doing projects for Capella. So what we typically ask delegates to do is actually use the memory joggers as the source of information for revision. So what we tend to ask is revise from these documents and also use these documents as part of the open book when you're doing the exam. So what we tend to see, delegates will usually sort of lock themselves in a quiet room, have access to 2 screens, one screen of course for your examination, the other screen for your notes and the open book. So what you can use is the memory joggers, you can use your notes, but what you can't do is actually search the internet or utilise any other equipment to get the answer. So it must be sort of static information, and that's part of what the camera use in invigilations for. So that's typically what you can expect to have. And of course, when you're getting into sort of your black belts, and you'll definitely need a calculator as well to help with the statistical questions.
Yeah.
So,
and I think during the main program, there's also quizzes and activities to help learners become familiar with the kinds of questions that will be asked at endpoint assessment. So there's the kind of the teaching of the core content, the quizzes and activities in the program, and then as you said, the mock at mid review and final review. So lots of opportunities to become familiar with the way that process works. And in terms of preparation that learners should be doing for those mocks and for the endpoint assessment, what would you say that is key for them?
One of the best practice that I see a lot of the learners that I work with is they actually do their sort of final review, their mid-review and final review almost after they've done the application in the project. And what you tend to see is the delegates who start their revision after they've done their project, they've had the ability to apply the learning, and they've almost got a live case study in their heads. So they get a tool of about MSA. Oh, I've done one of those in my project, so I can refer to it and I can understand the question better, and it also helps to revise as well. So almost do your revision after you've done your project.
Okay. So does that mean it needs to come later on in the program?
Yeah, typically we see most delegates will do their exam after. Some are quite keen. What we try to do is say, no, finish your project, make sure you understand and can actually use the tools, and actually that'll take a lot of the burden off your revision. Quite a personal example of open book and almost not running before you learn to walk. When I was taking my driving test, when I started taking driving lessons, I did 2 lessons. Thought I'll revise really hard, book the exam, get that out of the way, and I actually failed. I revised really heavily for the exam, and it didn't work. I didn't pass. So I thought I'll leave that and wait till I sort of get a few more lessons in. And what I ended up doing was taking the driving theory as late as possible. I didn't do an ounce of revision, and I passed with flying colours because I'd built up that sort of experience and knowledge by just being, the more driving you do, the more you experience, the more road signs that you see. That same approach is applicable in the apprenticeship. The more you use these tools, the more you're around them, you'll build up that foundational knowledge to the point where you're answering most of the questions off the top of your head, and you won't need to use the memory joggers. So that's another good practice that we see from our learners.
Yeah, because the multiple choice you said for level 3 and 4 is 40 minutes, and I know there's 40 questions. So actually, by the time you've read the question, worked through the range of answers, there's not a lot of time to go searching for the answers. So becoming really familiar through that regular application of learning through the completion of projects and activities is absolutely key, and that kind of review of notes using the memory jogger just to kind of be sure and confident that you can answer the questions quickly. So some of the revision techniques that I've seen are to kind of pick a topic, cover up the notes page, try and think of all the things that you can remember and know about that topic, and then uncover it and see how much you've actually remembered because you've applied it regularly over an extended period. And then any gaps, okay, I can take it, I remember that bit, I can now feel confident about going into the exam because I'm familiar with it, I'm sufficiently familiar with it through the repeated application, and I've checked in with myself before sitting the exam to make sure that yes, I have got everything that I thought I knew.
Well, and another top tip and that we see delegates do is actually almost in their planning phase of revision. So what some of the delegates have shown me in their approach, what they do is they get the memory joggers, and what they do is they go through each memory jogger, page by page, and they highlight all of the terms that they think, I'm not quite sure about that. And what they do is they go through all the memory joggers, I'm not sure of that, not sure of that, and they start to build up almost a map, if you want, for a better phrase. And they've got this, and they have a notepad of all of the tools that they think that they might struggle on, where it is in the memory jogger, what page it's on, and what title of the page is. And when I first seen that off one of the delegates, I said, what's the purpose of that? And they said, well, there's two reasons. Reason number one is I've got my revision plan. Second reason, if I don't do any revision, at least I know where the answers are if I struggle in the multiple choice. So they've got a quick, so like you say, they've got a quick reference guide to where the answers are if they come up with a question that they're not sure where it is. And I thought that's a fantastic approach. I've been sharing that with learners, and we see a really positive success rate because you're breaking a big task down into bite-sized, manageable chunks, and rather than trying to learn all of Six Sigma revise all of Six Sigma in a few weeks, you're breaking it down. What can I learn today? What can I learn tomorrow? And it has a really good retention rate for the learners when they're taking that knowledge in.
So being systematic about it. I always like to, when I'm learning something new, to kind of do myself a little mind map, or make some notes during the session that I can then look at afterwards and highlight any things, as you say, that kind of not sure about that, just want to go and have another little look. I'll go into the memory jogger to help me with that, so that by the time you come to do the exam, actually you've been through that process multiple times. You've learnt it, checked your understanding, made some notes, applied it, and then done yourself a little revision test at the end to say, yes, have I retained all of that a few weeks on, so that you can go into that exam feeling really confident, and knowing that you've got the best chance of showing all the great stuff you've learnt about, isn't it? It's a celebration of what you've achieved, not oh gosh, I don't know what I can remember here, and feeling all nervous and anxious about it. It's kind of like training for a run or something, isn't it? Kind of get into the habit of doing that regularly, so that when you get to that start line and ready for the race, you can cross over that finish line feeling really good about what you've achieved.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing we could also add, I've actually seen delegates who've sort of been in the same cohort and they're about to go through the final exams sort of together, is actually get into groups and actually have a go at trying to almost teach each other the content back to each other, and have that open discussion, challenge each other, and almost work together to try and embed that learning. And again, we see really good results from delegates who take that approach. Because it's one thing to sort of listen and take the information in, but when you've got the job of explaining it, you start to see the tools a bit differently, and it helps to embed that knowledge that they're trying to get so they can pass the exam. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really another top tip that we see.
And I guess that, that works equally well, whether it's people within the same employer, working for the same organisation, or from different organisations, because that's a wonderful opportunity for sharing kind of best practice across sectors, that benchmarking, and potentially that's another piece of evidence that can be used to demonstrate a behaviour that's associated with that, kind of driving for results, which is a behaviour statement in all of the standards. It says, I'm going searching and looking for those other opportunities to develop further. Yeah, super. So I know that we've got quite a few of our learners who have some additional support needs of some sort. From fairly small to very significant. As a learner with additional needs, what kind of extra support might I expect from Capella?
Well, firstly, you can expect whatever support is needed that we will offer. So, typically the kind of things that we see, if extra time is needed just for the, sometimes it might take a while to sort of understand the topic of the question, or if certain delegates might struggle with dyslexia, then, reasonable adjustment, more time can be agreed with the endpoint assessment organisation. Also, there can be that support could also be in place throughout the apprenticeship. So rather than it just being extra time at the end, there are support plan opportunities where we have a delegate support specialist, or it could actually be additional time with the trainer. Each case is obviously assessed to that individual's needs, and then appropriate measures are in place. But in short, if there are additional requirements, we can support and we will meet them, and again, that they have a successful outcome.
Great. And it's the Capella team who will liaise with the endpoint assessment organisation to put that reasonable adjustment plan in place, isn't it? Yeah. So it's not left to the learner to say, oh, please, can I have some extra? That will all be arranged. Yeah.
Of course. And then, as we say, that plan is then managed by Capella's own specialist support team to make sure, are the support events happening? Are they having a positive impact? Is there anything else we could be doing? And these are reviewed regularly. And then it's also regularly reviewed with ourselves, the program managers. So there's a whole team behind the scenes who are here to support each of our learners achieving the best possible result for themselves. So
yeah, super.
We make sure all of our learners are in safe hands.
Yeah, excellent. So, Alex, if you were to leave today with a final top tip on how to be best prepared for exams and to achieve the best results from them, what would your top tip be?
It's ultimately it's have a plan. Have be brave in yourself by saying, this is what I think I'm good at, this is what I don't think I'm as strong at, and therefore base your revision plan around being honest and trusting in yourself. We've got some fantastic resources available for the memory joggers. We have the repeat, mid-review, final review mock exams. Also, it goes without saying, we have a fantastic group of trainers who are knowledgeable and support delegates nearly every week going through these exams. But I think what can't be ignored is it does come down to the individual. They want to achieve the goal of passing the exam, getting the apprenticeship, and I think have that plan, know what you're good at, know what you're not so good at, and work to closing out the gaps that you want to, and Capella will support that journey.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think kind of part of that is about keeping in mind, why am I doing this? What success from completing the exam and passing the exam means from a kind of personal point of view, career point of view, employer's point of view, and kind of keeping that bigger prize in mind, so that you can really focus on the great things that will come as a result of performing well at that endpoint assessment. Excellent. Alex, thanks ever so much for your time today. Great to talk to you. Cheers.